6th of December 2025. A very good afternoon to you and welcome to the weekend edition of our news right here on Science TV. You're just in time for the 1 p.m. news. My name is Chris Mololo. Our sign language interpreter is Philip Omondi. And from our newsrooms, these are the stories we have for you in this hour. We begin in Kakamega, where the number of fatalities from the violent clashes has risen to 4 after a shooting victim died while undergoing treatment at the Kakamega County General Teaching and Referral Hospital. 3 other individuals with gunshot injuries are being treated at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga in Kisumu, while 2 police officers assaulted by a mob remain in critical condition. According to authorities, 63 suspects, among them 2 MCAs, have been taken into custody over their alleged participation in the unrest. Security teams say they are working to piece together how the violence unfolded and who may have been responsible for sparking the confrontation. Locals report that one of the victims had been carrying out his routine work when he was struck by a bullet, accusing officers of firing without clear direction during the chaos. The incident has triggered renewed calls for justice, with community leaders urging calm and demanding an impartial investigation into the shooting.
Askari waliingia ndani, wakachukua watoto pamoja na watoto na papa yao, wakawapeleka nje, wakaanza kuwapika. Nikawauliza kwa nini mnawachapa? Mimi mama nilipewa kofi, ile kofi ya ajabu, nikarudi kwa nyumba. Mtoto wangu ako na 14 years na ako grade 8. Hao watu jana usiku walikuja kwangu kitu saa 10:30, wakaniambia tena, waliniita tu Mama Alan. Mama Alan, nifungua mlango, tunataka Alan. Nikauliza kama mnataka Alan, jana vile mlichukua Alan, mbona hamkunirudishia?
If the government has agreed with us to mine gold, they must advertise the tender all over the world, and whoever wins should be brought to us. Shanta is a private, we don't know who they are.
Mwenye kugonga huyo ofisa dada kichwa tumemshika, tuko naye. Mwenye kuharibu mali na shule tuko nao. Tuko na hawa kabisa ambao wametambuliwa na maofisa na wananchi. We have the real guys. Si atukubatisha, atubatishi.
Moving on, the United States Embassy in Nairobi has sought to calm public concern over the security of Kenyan health information under the new 5-year cooperation framework signed in Washington, D.C. The embassy maintains that all data involving the partnership will remain protected and unidentifiable as the 2 countries expand collaboration in priority health programs. Under the agreement, the framework is expected to strengthen Kenya's long-term health system resilience while supporting key national programs. Reports indicate that the deal also commits the Kenyan government to increase its domestic health spending by $850 million over the next 5 years to bolster service delivery. The embassy has also dismissed suggestions that the arrangement allows the United States access to Kenyan personal health data, emphasizing that no such sharing is part of the cooperation plan. Authorities from both sides view the framework as a step towards building a more sustainable and self-reliant health sector.
In terms of the $1.6 billion and how it will be allocated, We have had discussions with the government of Kenya, but this is going to be part of the implementation phase. But the idea is that the investment that we're making is in things like commodities, purchasing commodities, the salaries for healthcare workers, as well as helping Kenya build a digital system, a system of managing medical records and things, so that Kenya is able to manage an effective health system at the end of the 5 years.
It's not a loan. So it is a continuing assistance. So this is money that we're putting forward. We don't expect to be paid back. The funding mechanism is, there will be a couple different mechanisms that will be within it. Some of it's going to be continuing work with our implementing partners, and some of that's contracts, some of it's assistance. The G2G mechanism needs to be worked out, and that is typically a funding mechanism that will go through Treasury. But again, we have to figure out what that means, and it will be a transition, a phased transition over time to try to get to it, make sure that the government has the systems to be able to do this, and that we have the oversight mechanisms in place to ensure that as what was said with President Ruto, every dollar and every shilling is spent correctly.
The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, that's KNCHR, has urged the executive to respect the recent court decision on compensation for victims of the protests and to move swiftly in establishing a lasting framework to address human rights violations. The commission said the judgment should be seen as an opportunity to strengthen accountability and provide meaningful redress for affected citizens. This comes after the Kerugoya High Court on Thursday faulted a Gazette notice that had mandated a panel of experts to formulate a compensation framework for individuals harmed during the demonstrations in public protests. The court's suspension temporarily freezes government's efforts to operationalize the proposed structure. KNCHR is now pushing for a comprehensive, transparent, and sustainable approach that aligns with constitutional obligations, insisting that victims of human rights abuses deserve timely and just compensation without administrative or legal delays.
Been lacking is a clarity on the role of compensation, and we are happy that the court has clarified that particular clause and said that the commission has that mandate to compensate. But this requires collaboration with various institutions to ensure that we amend our act and we ensure that the regulations are put in place to comply with the court's orders.
So, one time you're in this regime, your rights are not being violated. Next time you are out, your rights are being violated. That is why the marking system actually should be defending the rights of everybody.
It's really heartbreaking to see how people who are supposed to represent us, who are mandated to represent us and care about us, go on about how they enjoy us being tortured. That's one of the risks of being an activist. Have the government and other people enjoying you being tortured because niki here here.
Sometimes when you're putting on your clothes, you ask yourself, will this be the clothes I'll be identified with at the morgue?
The High Court has ruled that elected leaders cannot be removed from office over alleged party hopping unless there is clear formal proof of resignation from the sponsoring political party as required under the Political Parties Act. The judges stressed that accusations of defection must be backed by lawful and verifiable documentation. In its decision, the court dismissed a petition seeking to oust Isiolo County Governor Abdi Guyo and his deputy, John Lowessa, on claims they had shifted allegiance from the Jubilee Party to the United Democratic Alliance that's UDA. The three-judge bench noted that petitioners failed to provide sufficient evidence to demonstrate a valid resignation by either leader. The ruling effectively reinforces the legal safeguards around the tenure of elected officials, signaling that political disputes or speculation cannot substitute for formal proof. The court emphasized that without authenticated resignation letters or official communication, claims of defection remain unsubstantiated.
The petitioners asseiled the first and second respondents' conduct on the 2nd of June 2023, alleging that it was a defection to another political party which undermines the principles governing multi-party democracy, and thus the court should declare the first and second respondents by their action resigned from their positions as governor and deputy governor of Isiolo County. In the absence of such formal notification, the fourth respondent asserts that the legal threshold for resignation or defection as contemplated under Political Parties Act 2011 has not been met. Without the evidence, we are unable to satisfy ourselves on the question of whether the conduct complained of constituted what is referred to as deemed resignation from a political party under Article 1 or the sub-Article 3 of the Constitution as read with Section 14A of the Political Parties Act. We thus find the petition lacks merit and is hereby dismissed. We make no orders as to costs. When one chooses to contest for elections on a political party, it has to be appreciated that the election is not just about the person alone. Party affiliation and ideology also play a critical part in the decision made by the voters during such an election. It would therefore be a serious political deception and lack of regard for the electorate for one to go about changing political parties without regard for the electorate.
Now, lastly, detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, have arrested 3 suspects accused of fraudulently transferring a National Social Security Fund, NSSF, land valued at 350 million shillings. The suspects, Harish Ramji, Ashvin Ramji, and Varat Ramji, allegedly obtained a fake title deed for the 3.043 hectare parcel in Athi River, Machakos County. The arrests follow a complaint filed by NSSF, which reported that the suspects had forged documents, including a fake transfer dated May 27, 2010, bearing signatures resembling those of the NSSF Board of Trustees. Investigators say the trio falsely claimed the land had been legally sold to them. The Office of Director of Public Prosecutions has approved charges including conspiracy to defraud, obtaining registration by false pretenses, and forgery. The suspects are in custody awaiting arraignment while detectives pursue additional accomplices still at large. Well, with that update, we come to the end of 1 p.m. news, but remember to join us at 4 and 7 p.m. for more news. But of course, you can also visit our website, www.sciencetv.co.ke, for other stories. My name is Chris Mololo. Our sign language interpreter has been Philip Omondi. We are just saying goodbye for now, but of course, we'll be together for Sports City Show Live with Felix to tell you what's happening in the world of sports. Goodbye for now. We'll see you at that time.